some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious, Purple State Party. Living in the bunker here, man. You know what we do. We represent America, the center, common sense. God, I hope we can get there someday. You know, it's just, oh man, what a world we live in right now, dude. Like, you thought it would be bad, but then, like, you kind of thought, well, okay, it might not be as bad as some people are making it out to be. You know, we'll be fine. Whatever. 100-something days, and wow, Jesus, it's just a shit show. It's just a complete shit show out there. I don't know, man. People are losing their marbles, but hopefully this causes people to come back around and realize just how stupid they've been, you know, supporting some of these things. You know, so we're going to start off with a few little headlines here and there. You know how we do it. Probably don't, because this might be your first time watching. NBC is refusing to air the Golden Globes over a lack of diversity, and Turning Point shoots back. You mean a lack of viewers? Award shows are down, and I feel like it's just one of those, like, lose for the networks. But, you know, I guess the way it goes is Hollywood doesn't hire diversity, then doesn't want to show it off. You know, they don't want to show off their lack of diversity, so they don't want to do the Golden Globes because there's not enough diversity. I mean, if stuff's worthy, it's worthy. I mean, you know, things should stand on its own merit. Just, you know, like Martin Luther King said, don't judge on the color of skin, judge on the content of the character. And I guess it's the same thing that goes on with award shows, I guess, now. You know, it has to be about color. All right. You know, it has to be about diversity. Okay. It's not about something being good or something being bad. You know, we're so fragile nowadays that we have to have representation, or people are going to get letters and networks are going to freak out. Okay. You know, reap what you sow, because, I mean, you know, I don't think it was coming from, you know, the right or the center that we should shut down award shows because there's not enough diversity. You know, if something's good, something's good. It's just the way it is. I mean, you know, if you don't see the results, you know, maybe provide more equal starts, you know. Maybe take some chances, you know, because you want everything cookie cutter, and the cookie cutter just keeps coming out vanilla. You're to blame, so, you know, have fun not having your awards. Found this one shocking, that California's population dropped for the first time in state recorded history. A lot of Californians say, bye, we didn't want you anyhow, but, you know, let's be real, there is a problem here in California, you know. The cost of everything, homelessness, ineffectual leadership. You know, Gavin Newsom's passing his budget, and again, he's going on about a bullet train. We don't need a fucking bullet train. Like, I don't know. I'm blue in the face over it. I don't want to talk about it. Liz Cheney was removed from, I believe, the number 3 position or something like that. It's really, I mean, who cares? I don't even care, really. Here they go. They say Republicans, cancel culture is out of control. Also Republicans, we canceled Liz Cheney for telling the truth once. No, not really. Cancel culture is when you just shoot something in the back of the head for one little mistake, one little faux pas, one little thing. Liz Cheney was obviously not towing the party line, you know, so why should she be number 3? It's not like they ran her out. It's not like they kicked her out altogether. They just said, look, we don't want you heading chairs, or, you know, whatever. I don't really care, but, you know, I'm sorry, Trump was doing a good job, and if you want to talk shit about Trump and be a Republican, you have to expect that. You know what I mean? You just have to be. You have to be expecting that. Here's one that's been circulating, all kinds of stuff about this Arizona recount. They're talking about all of these, you know, audits, and all of these, the comprehensive audits have shown all this, and they found all these votes and stuff. It's all fucking bullshit. And I don't know how many times I have to say it, because I understand not a lot of people are listening, but I need to get through to people, you know, on the left and in the center, like, We have to win on the truth. We can't keep lying. Let lying Biden do that. Let Biden get up there and say that like 5 former heads of the reserve support his economic plan, when in reality there's only 3 surviving members people who used to be the head of the reserve. And what it actually was 5 IRS agents saying that his new laws on collecting taxes will make it easier to collect taxes. Unpaid taxes for the most part. Let him do the lying. We don't need this. If there is discrepancies, they'll be found. If not, it doesn't really matter. It's over. It's done with. We have to move on. And we can't keep getting caught up in this shit that pushes people away. Colonial Pipeline got hacked, and apparently they paid the ransom of $5 million to a group in Russia. And apparently America is going after them, so they've gone into deep hiding. But, as they say here, they talk about what's the security threat? Oh, white supremacy. Well, it seems like it might be hackers shutting down our infrastructure. And why? Why is it that way? Because I don't think anybody really fears Biden. I think people feared Trump. I think Trump was the crazy man that we needed and that we need at the helm. We need somebody who's unpredictable. America is supposed to be unpredictable. We are unpredictable people. Fully vaccinated people can take their masks off in the shower if no one else is home. Oh my God. And then they put fact checks down below it. It's just getting stupid, folks. We have treatments now. It's time to end all this crap. And hopefully it's time to end this guy, because I'm just sick of the psychobabble that comes out of his mouth. So yeah, I'm old enough to remember the gas lines under Carter. I remember waiting in lines to get gas. Never thought that would happen again. And Trump pretty much was making it so that would never happen again. But apparently, Biden is driving the price up, and hackers got in. How? How are we not on top of shit like this? Seriously. Well, did some guy go to a porn site and get one of those FBI locks, and he had to provide a password or something, and they got in? I mean, come on. We've got to do better than that. But this is just the lack of leadership. Starts at the top, man. You guys blame Trump. The left blame Trump day in and day out for everything. It rained, Trump's fault. Whose fault is this? Is this Trump's fault somehow? Look at this dude. He's filling up his gas tank and scraping off his Biden sticker. It's a cartoon by Bronco. But it illustrates the point. That's what you voted for. You went out of your way to vote Trump out, and this is what you got. I mean, I even said it on here. Before you do that, consider what alternative you're putting in. You're allowing a bunch of crazy people. And this whole episode, you're just going to see how far gone the left really is. Even people who are somewhat moderate, they're just completely out of touch. They can't get the job done. And we were getting the job done for 4 years. Oh, you could blame Trump for all those deaths. You could blame all the world leaders and all the governors. And you could blame every single person who sat in power for the pandemic. So running your mouth about Trump, I don't know how effective that really is. Lumber. This is from Tim Kennedy. He's a fighter, and he was on a really great show that I highly recommend called Hunting Hitler. Lumber is up 400%. Gasoline is up. The ammunition, copper, national debt. Inflation is going up. We're trying to help the people who need the most help. They want to talk about communities of color. They want to talk about the poor. They want to talk about migrants to this country. But we're making it so damn expensive. That might be a great immigration policy. Make everything in America so expensive that nobody wants to move here. And for what? Weak leadership. Joe Biden to reporters. I'm not supposed to be answering all these questions. I'm supposed to leave. I'm sure this was a joke. I'm sure this could even be made up. But the truth is that's what's going through this dude's head. He's not up to it. The administration is not up to it. Kamala Harris was told to be in charge of the border crisis, and nothing's being done. You might think that things like Antifa and the border crisis are over, but that's only because all you do is live in an echo chamber. If you live in an echo chamber or only watch certain newscasts, you're being sold all these other stories. You're being told that Liz Cheney is more important than the Colonial Pipeline, than the border crisis, than Antifa. We're being attacked by many sources inside and outside of this country, and we're being led to believe that Liz Cheney is the big issue, or MJT or whatever her name is, Marjorie Green or whatever, peeping at AOC's door. That's supposed to be some big news. They want to focus on that when the real problems are just eating this country alive. And here's another country that's under attack. And, I get it. It sounds like maybe that Israel was a little heavy-handed about a few things, and the retaliation is launching rockets. And where does, Hamas put these rockets? They put them in civilian areas. They put them in areas where if you want to hit the rocket launchers, there's going to be civilian casualties. That's what terrorists do. Terrorists are willing to sacrifice lives to get a good soundbite, or to be able to say that, oh, look what the Jews are doing. The Jews are defending themselves since day one of that country. They've defended themselves. They even kicked the British out, and the British gave them the land. Look that one up, man. They blew up a hotel. They're not to be effed with, man. They are like an OG gangster. Like, they would rather just put a bullet in your skull than have to deal with any of your nonsense. And this is a good example of it. The invasion that never came. They basically launched stories, propaganda, whatever, misinformation, that they were going to go through these tunnels to get at Hamas. So Hamas rushed their troops in there, and then the Israelis blew it up. They're not to be trifled with. They intentionally led them down into those tunnels and bombed them. They're not messing around. They destroyed the intelligence headquarters. And now you got a bunch of people saying, hey, we were in that building. And I guess some of our press was possibly in that building. AP and people like that. Like, okay, well, I don't know. You should think about where you are. You should think about where you station people. Right there. That's what I'm saying. The way people are looking at things right now. Palestinian attacks Israel over and over again. And everybody is like, oh, that's the oppressed people fighting back against the evil Israel. Israel defends itself and the world gets mad. It sounds exactly what happens in a lot of these police instances that turn into riots. Buildings being burned down, And then it starts to come out that, oh, wait a minute, this happened, or oh, wait a minute, God, the suspect wasn't black. And then it just disappears. Because they're siding with, oftentimes, the anti-police side. They're siding with places like, people like Antifa. They're siding with people like illegal aliens. And they side with the terrorists. I get it. If Israel's being heavy-handed, fine. Let's deal with that like a civilization. Let's not just start launching rockets in. You're talking about people like right here, what we're looking at. The Jews were persecuted. Spain, Portugal, Russia, Poland, Germany, Ethiopia, Yemen, Egypt, Iraq, Libya, Latin America, and they had no homeland. The Israelis started out as the downtrodden. And when they were given an opportunity to build a country, they built it. And they defend it, man. They've been attacked by 3 other countries and just whooped ass. There's a reason why when they fought 3 other Arab countries, it was called the 6-Day War. That's this. They're not to be trifled with. And this is not a response. And for the media and for politicians to try to justify Hamas's response is exactly why we have the problems we have with our cities being burned every time there's a problem. Because you guys just want to hate on the Jews. You know, this guy calls it genocide because Israel won't stop until the terrorists stop. Right here is a quote. I don't know if Tom Cotton's the originator. I don't think so because I've heard this. I don't know. I've heard this for years. If Hamas put down their weapons, there would be peace. If Israel put down their weapons, there would be no Israel. That's, as much as you don't want to hear that, that's the truth. That's the truth. They are at constant conflict with all of their neighbors and including people who live in their communities because Palestinians do live in Jewish areas. There is intermingling of sorts. Unfortunately, there were some land disputes. There were some arrests that had to be made. A country needs to be able to defend itself without people like Omar here. She's defending them. You see, because for some reason, we can't separate our religions from our actions. Like, fine, support one fellow Muslim supporting another fellow Muslim. I don't care. Whoopie whoop, big deal. I would expect that. But when it comes to firing rockets indiscriminately into a city, come on. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. They're the ones who started the overreaction. And when you overreact, when you start firing rockets at Israel, man, you know what's going to happen. And you see it right here. This is making fun of it. Babylon B here. Media condemns Israel for unprovoked attack on innocent Hamas rockets. I've seen Hamas were mostly sending peaceful rockets. And that's that Iron Guard they got. That's a pretty spectacular looking picture, but behind that picture, there's bodies. And I mean, think about this. One side has anti-missile technology because they have to have it. That's, Hamas. People try to say that places like Hamas or back in the day, the PLO, they were freedom fighters. They were sticking up for the oppressed and all of this. They're a terrorist group. Okay, they're firing all those rockets you see coming in right above the little CNN right there. Those are all just going to land indiscriminately. They're not being fired at military targets. They're not. They're being fired willy-nilly. They don't really care. And they're packed into, residential areas. Thus assuring that when somebody does something about it, honor classes are being removed from school because they aren't diverse enough. Can we take a moment to recognize how dumb this is? You are just absolutely shortchanging the brightest of our country. You're holding them back. You're making them want to leave the public schools. It's not going to be good. And it's not fair. Again, it's not fair. If somebody can overachieve, they should be allowed to overachieve. This is fucking America. John Kerry admits that slave labor is being used to build solar panels. I can't pronounce it, and I don't want to massacre it. But again, this is the same thing that goes on with the mining of materials for electric vehicles and other things that we use or dream of owning or whatever. The governor of Ohio is going to give out $1 million for 5 weeks to get people vaccinated. That's kind of weird. Kind of shows what you would have to do to get people to get vaccinated against something that they're probably not afraid of. Or, I don't know, man. The jury's still out on the whole thing, but that's what they're having to do. I like this one. Who radicalized you? And the man leans forward. You did. They did. I'm sorry, but one of the reasons why we're rabid right now is because of what we've seen in our cities from left-wing or far, far left-wing politicians and groups like Antifa. We've seen what the media does. The media has had the gall to ban Donald Trump. Think about that, man. Here in America, an American company is violating the spirit of free speech. So if you want to know who radicalized me, who took me from somewhat left-leaning to the middle to having to be in the camp of the red. Right there. The Democrats did. AOC, Pelosi, Biden, Harris, Schumer, Soros, Newsom, Garcetti. That's who radicalized me, because it's a fucking failure and nobody can see it. They're just like, oh, we're just going to keep voting Democrat, even though they're in charge of the biggest messes. Yes, you could make the argument that one of the reasons why New York, LA, and Chicago are a mess is they're huge. But San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably Atlanta. It's a fucking failure. Where they rule, it's a failure. And people keep voting for it, and now they're trying to rig future elections. Sarah Silverman calls Caitlyn Jenner, I'm not sure what that is. But she says, you think a trans girl is too strong. Yeah, I would think that Caitlyn Jenner recognizes that even though she identifies as a woman, she's stronger than a woman. Pretty sure Caitlyn knows that. I mean, you can look on the video, Sarah Silverman. You can see the track stars, the rugby players, the fighters. You know, you can see the actuality of it. It's not like this is all a theory. Pelosi tweets out a happy birthday to Willie Mays and shows a picture of Willie McCovey. That's the kind of, people say, oh, Pelosi didn't do it. It's her team. Okay, so her team is that fucking stupid? Her team is that incompetent? Her team is that, I dare say, racist? Huh. That's great. And she's the one preaching. She's the one who's saying she'll take communion if she wants to. Okay. Whatever there, babe. You do your thing, man, because at some point somebody's going to slap you down hard. And you're going to realize how wrong you are. But you probably already do. You don't really care. These people are basically the Marie Antoinettes. You let them eat cake. They don't give a shit, man. They're getting rich. She's buying stock, and then all of a sudden the stock gets a defense contract. Yeah, come on. We know what's up, man. These are the kings and queens and princes and princesses and dukes and vice lords and all of that crap. BLM claims to be an organization fighting against white supremacy, yet identify as trained Marxist. And Marxist was a white man. Yeah, that kind of sums it up. Columbus Day reinstated after experts learned indigenous people he conquered only believed in two genders. Oh, man. I don't know, man. Who knows? Maybe we should just cancel them both out. Oh, man. So apparently, our country just magically appeared one day. And everything was groovy, baby. And, we'll just whitewash all of history, man. I mean, you can learn so much from history, but who the fuck wants to learn anything when we can just bow to our overlords, man? Let them eat ice cream. This is one that's really going around a lot. He's the Ian Biden for empty. And it is. I mean, come on. We're not seeing anything. He's taking away the protection to federal monuments because Trump put it in. Does that make you happy? I mean, if that fills your gas tank, cool, man. But hey, we said at the beginning about Californians leaving. High prices. It's coming. New York and California. New York isn't New York without you, love. They are models for the rest of the country. They're test cases. And the Democrats are such bad scientists that even though the test fails, they go ahead with it anyhow. We saw it. I'm not going to get into it. Iconic symbols of the American political party. The Democrats are a mask and the Republicans is a MAGA hat. Yeah. That's about right. Don't know what to say about that. I don't like either one of them, really, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm more purple than all that red. I don't think I'd look good in it. So here you go. Here's the cheerleaders. Here's the squad. chant, now give me an H, give me an A, all that, right? That's the party that is supposed to be running this country. People who would rather make a political statement, people who would rather support a terrorist organization. I'm not making it up. This is not fake news. They say these things. They are quoted by reputable sources. Sometimes they even say the shit on camera where we could all see it. That's what these people believe. They don't give a shit about America, man. They've made their money off America and they want to fuck it up for the rest of us. Copious out.